Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 19th of October and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, let's start with the today's video. First of all, little bit delay has been there. Sorry for that. Actually, there are so many of the articles in the today's newspaper. So let's discuss all the articles. But before that, I would like to tell you that you can download this explainer PDF from the Telegram channel. In this explainer PDF, we have given the notes of all the articles that are there in the today's newspaper. So synoptic notes have been given. Fine, you can follow these synoptic notes along with the video in order to get a better understanding of all the articles. Okay, the link for the Telegram channel has been given in the description box in YouTube. Moreover, you can visit the Telegram by searching Thinking Palette by Sahil, and there you will get the notes of all these particular articles. Okay, so that is about it. And now, before starting up, first of all guys, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper so that you get an idea that articles are where, and you get an idea that which articles are important for the examination. Okay, so first of all, here we see that step up the global effort to defeat crime, says Modi. So basically guys, the Prime Minister had said in the Interpol meet that we need to go for the global collaboration in order to defeat the terrorism, to defeat the crimes that have been there. Then moving on, the below article, House panel urges center not to implement languages panel report. So we'll see this particular article in detail, that what is this languages panel report and all such kind of things. Then guys, moving on, 6 pilgrims died in a helicopter crash. Now, not important article with respect to the examination. Again, not important article here. So guys, Supreme Court will hear the release of the Bilkis Bano case on November 29. So basically this particular case, we have seen already this particular thing, that the convicts of the Bilkis Bano, they have been released into the Gujarat. Now on that particular thing, there are the petitions that have been filed in Supreme Court. So when finally this particular thing will be held in November 29, then only we need to see. Till then, no need to go in this particular article. After Hindi textbooks, Dhanvantri Puja in medical colleges in Madhya Pradesh. So basically we have seen that in line with the new education policy 2020, where it was said that the promotion of higher education is in the regional languages, Hindi is to be done. So the book was released, and now these kind of incidents are happening. Now will not be commenting on this particular thing on academic sense. Okay, then guys, moving on, after that, in the city section, government starts spraying biodecomposer solution. Now as the winters are starting in the North India, the winter pollution problem will start, which has been called as a very big problem and violation of article number 21. So there are some interventions that have been carried. We'll see that particular thing. Then after that, in the city section, okay, the regional basically law and order related issues, advertisements, etc., not very much important for the examination. Okay, moving on guys in this particular direction. Okay, moving on in this particular direction. So as we move here, we find this particular thing, that some of the important articles have been given. For example, Japan seeks GI tag for Nihonshu. Now this GI tag has been seeked in India, and this is for the first time that such kind of a thing has happened. We'll see this particular article. High Court seeks status for Kerala government to enact the law on superstitions. So this was a human sacrifice issue that happened. We'll see this particular article. Then 6 spider species discovered across the country. So what is important and what is not, we'll see this article. Grazing animal, a key to long-term soil carbon stability, IISC study. So how the grazing animals such as the ibex, okay, they help in maintaining the a carbon balance. Okay, we'll see this article, a good article with respect to the examination. Now guys, this is an advertisement which is talking about the Defense Expo 2022 that is being hosted. On this particular line, there is also one more development that has happened. Gandhinagar declaration has been taken up. We'll see that particular thing. Then examining the case for a Congress family reunion, not important article guys, political article, no need to go in this particular article. Okay, simply avoid it. Whose pleasure? Now this particular article guys, yesterday I told you that their governor issue was there in the state of Kerala, where governor said that the pleasure will be withdrawn if any minister will speak against the governor. And I told you yesterday that now these kind of things might be coming into the newspaper, okay, editorials, and the same thing has happened. We'll discuss this entire article. Then moving on, the Dyer need to talk about 1962. We'll see this particular article as what it is talking about. Hill race, BJP and Congress face different challenges in Himachal Pradesh. So Himachal Pradesh elections and the stakes for the both Congress and BJP are being discussed. Political article, not important for exam. Hindus are not kafirs, Muslims are not jihadis. Now guys, the article with respect to the UPSC doesn't contain much of a substance. Okay, so if you have interest, as a leisure, you can read this particular thing. magnanimity or Machiavellian move. So guys, this particular article talks about the recent step where BJP had withdrawn a candidate from Andheri East in Mumbai. Okay, now again with respect to the UPSC, the withdrawal of a candidate by BJP in Andheri East, and that particular details are being provided. Is it clear? Now these things are not at all important for the examination, so I'll suggest that no need to even read this particular article, okay, for the examination. Okay, if you have interest, then it is different thing. Then the pandemic's blue gone, people are painting the town red. So guys, this particular article is talking about that as the festival season are coming, okay, the people are going for the shopping and all such kind of things, and basically the basically it is providing that the mobility, okay, the peoples are visiting the grocery and pharma shops, park visits, okay. So on to the basis of the Google mobility index, how many people are visiting, the recreational visits and all such things are being talked about here, okay. Then guys, moving on, Gambia child death and cough syrups. So basically this article is recently there was this incident that happened. We'll see this article with respect to the academic dimension. Then moving on, the illusion of being faster than light. Now guys, this is a very important article with respect to the science and technology. We'll see this article, that what is being talked about. Then it is government's job to appoint the judges, law minister. We'll see the article as with respect to the exam what is happening. Courts cannot issue direction to frame the universal civil code. Okay, now article number 44 of the Indian Constitution. Article number 44 of the Indian Constitution talks about the UCC, that is the Uniform Civil Code. Now, basically from the past few months, there have been the petitions that have been filed into it has been filed into the Supreme Courts as well as the High Court, that now the Supreme Court should issue, or the judiciary should issue the order with respect to the Uniform Civil Code. But that thing is being provided that it is not the task of judiciary, rather it is the task of the legislature. Okay, so courts cannot issue the direction in that particular direction. After that, center went against own guidelines in release of Bilkis Bano case. Now I have told you this particular thing, that this article has become more of a political article. Okay, so whatever the Supreme Court final decision will be coming, we'll see only that. Then after that, we don't believe in hierarchical world. So the Gandhinagar declaration has been taken. Okay. So, India-Africa Defense Dialogue. India-Africa Defense Dialogue was held. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Okay. AK-203 assault rifles likely to begin by the end of the year. Okay. So, basically this is guys an Indo-Russia joint venture that is going to start. Then after that, moving on. MHA official seeks 3 more months to frame CAA rules. So Citizenship Amendment Act was passed, but up till now the rules have not been framed. Okay, so that is something which is being talked about. Supreme Court asked government to develop modules on the drug abuse. Okay, so we'll see this particular article as what it is talking about. Then Solar Alliance approves funding mechanism. So 2 facilities under the Solar Alliance have been started. We'll see this article also. Giraffes brought to India may belong to endangered species. We'll see what the article is talking about. Then Meghalaya panel prepares plan to restore the water bodies. So basically into the Meghalaya there are many of the water bodies which are facing the threat of extinction. So for that particular thing, a plan will be prepared. Nothing has happened. A plan will be prepared in the coming time. So if the plan will be prepared, it will come, then we'll see that. After that, moving on. So this is talking about the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Now guys, you don't need to follow this particular thing on day-to-day basis. Pakistan likely to be taken off the FATF grey list. So FATF stands for Financial Action Task Force. Now guys, the Financial Action Task Force has given certain mandates to the countries that they need to control the terror financing. They need to make sure that the money that the money laundering is not happening there. Now the countries which don't comply to the FATF's directives, they are put into the blacklist or grey list. Now the Pakistan has been in the grey list for a long time. Now the FATF grey list, Pakistan might be removed from there because now the Pakistan has fulfilled most of the compliances that have been there. Then after that, China looking at a much faster timeline for taking Taiwan. Okay, so basically guys, it has been provided it has been provided by the US that China might make Taiwan as a part of their mainland China, which has been the China's stated aim, and that thing will be done much sooner. Okay, UK working to stop China's poaching of Air Force farmers. Now these things are not important for the examination. Government said to seek waiver in the norm of the IDBI bank sale. Now guys, and understand this particular thing, that as of present time, and if you remember, we have discussed this particular article I think 3-4 days back. Okay, what is the present scenario? presently around 95% of the stake, around 95% of the stake in the IDBI bank is held by the government of India and LIC, is held by government of India and LIC. So basically the 45.48% stake is owned by government and 49% stake is owned by the LIC. So 95% stakes LIC and government owns, and out of that 60.72% stake they want to sell. They want to sell, and for that particular thing they are inviting the applications. They are inviting the applications. Okay. Now guys, in that particular thing, basically government needs the waiver from the SEBI. Now one thing I want to tell you with respect to the examination, guys, by the time you will be writing your examination, this particular thing, now this is the process that have started, and this particular process will go through multiple stages. Okay, the waiver will be taken from SEBI, then there will be the applications that will be invited, then the applications will be streamlined, there will be the scrutinies that will go on. You don't need to follow this every step by step detail for your general studies economy paper. Is it clear or not? Okay, so for that particular thing, these step-by-step details are not very much important. Okay, when finally this particular deal will happen, then only you need to see. For example, Air India got privatized. Now, Air India's privatization, how it will help? What will be the criticism? Only this is something which is important. The process, the steps that were taken in between, they are not important for your exam. Okay, so please understand that in what way you need to interpret the articles. All the articles simply, they are not on the face not important, so you need to identify that particular thing. Okay, or in Air India eyes 30% international markets stake. So these corporate trends, etc., not very much important. International air travel will recover fully by mid 2023. Okay, so now then we have the sports page. So this is, guys, the overview of the entire newspaper. There are many articles in the today's newspaper. Now let's discuss all these relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now, so every class we start by taking the GS quotation which can be used in one of our papers. So today we'll take the quotation from Woodrow Wilson. So Woodrow Wilson says that there is no higher religion than human service. To work for the common good is the greatest creed. Now, the highest religion is the human welfare. Highest religion is the human service. Even the Gandhiji said, even the Gandhiji said that the surest way to rediscover oneself is to submerge in the service of the other people. Is it clear? Okay. Even Shri Paramhans said this particular thing, that the service to man is service to God. So higher religion, okay, or the biggest devotion that can be there, it is towards the human service. And when we talk about the human service, it simply means that we need to devote ourselves in order to remove the miseries of the people who are deprived, in order to empower the people who are vulnerable. If we do that, that will be the highest religion, that will be the highest ethics, that will be the highest morality. Now this particular idea can be used very effectively in GS paper number 4, topic number 1, ethics and human interface. Ethics and human interface. Okay, please do remember it. Now let's take the first article. Okay, so guys, the first article we have taken from the text and the context section, Gambia child deaths and the cough syrups. Now this particular article will be important for GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, issues related to the health. Moreover, guys, this particular article will also be important to GS paper number 3, pharmaceutical sector of India. The issues in the pharmaceutical sector. There also we'll see this particular article. Now, this particular article, I am telling you, you don't need to read the article from starting to the last, because the article is giving some minor details that, okay, in which how many children actually got died and all many minor details, personal details are being given in the article. Day by day account is being given. That is not important. Only the academic substance which is relevant for our examination, that we need to see. For example, what is the root cause, how this particular poisoning happened, and what will be the implications of it. These are the things that we need to see. Okay, let's start with that. So basically what has happened, guys, recently an Indian pharmaceutical company, that is the Meden Pharma, they exported certain cough syrups to the African nations, including the Gambia. including the Gambia, they exported the cough syrups. Now, after consuming those cough syrups, there are nearly 69 children who have died up till now. And this particular thing has opened a very big controversy that what are the credentials of the India's pharmaceutical companies. Now, understand this thing. Today, India is the pharmacy to the world. We are the biggest generic drug manufacturer in the world. And in that particular thing, if such kind of allegations will come on the India's pharma sector, it might impact the export competency of India's pharmaceutical companies. Now, in this particular direction, already what has happened? India's drug regulator, that is the central, just a minute, India's drug regulator, that is the Central Drug Standards Control Organization, CDSCO, it has banned the Maiden pharmaceutical. Now guys, little bit about the CDSCO for the prelims examination, because such kind of things are also asked into the examination. So when we talk about the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, it is the regulator for three things. It is the country's regulator for three things, that is the cosmetics, pharmaceuticals and medical devices. Then the CDSO along with one more regulator, that is the Drug Controller General of India, they all come under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Now when we talk about the Drug Controller General of India, it specifically regulates the pharmaceutical sector and medical devices. Okay, so there is CDSU, then there is the Drug Controller General of India, okay, and above both of them there is Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So that is something that has happened. Now guys, in this particular direction, WHO, World Health Organization, is doing a detailed study, and after this particular detailed study, more facts will be coming. But up till now, what was the reason behind the contamination, or what were the chemical components by which this contamination happened? We have some primary information. So basically guys, there are two of the substances that have been found. That is the diethyl glycol, DEG, and the second is the ethylene glycol. So because of the presence of these two components, that is the diethyl glycol and the ethylene glycol, these deaths have happened. Now let's discuss more about these chemical compounds and how they impact. Now first of all guys, when we talk about this diethylene glycol and the ethylene glycol, these are the toxic substances, and if they are consumed by the human in minor quantities, they might lead to pain, vomiting, diarrhea, inability to pass urine, headache, altered mental state, and then it might lead to acute kidney injury. And if there is increased consumption of this DEG, then it can also lead to the deaths. Now the children that have died in Gambia, they have died because of the acute kidney failure, and acute kidney failure is because of the excessive quantity of the diethylene glycol and the ethylene glycol. Now let's understand that why these particular components were mixed in these particular cough syrups. So basically guys, first of all, when we talk about both of these, that is the diethylene glycol and the ethylene glycol, they are the illegal adulterants. It means that they are not allowed by the law to be added into the cough syrups. Actually, in order to give the liquid base, in order to sweeten the cough syrups, fine, there are some other components that are actually allowed by the law. Fine, for example, glycerin. Okay, glycerin, it is also called as the glycerol. Okay guys, this particular kind of a thing can be asked into the science questions in your prelims examination, so please be very careful. So by the law, in the cough syrups, glycerine or the glycerol can be added, or propylene glycerol. Okay, propylene glycerol, they can be added. Now what they do, they give a liquid base to these cough syrups. Okay, and there are the non-water soluble paracetamol solutions. In that also they are added to give them the liquid base. They also help in preservation. They act as preservatives, they act as thickeners, they act as sweeteners, and they also have antimicrobial properties. So for all these particular things, these are two components, such as the glycerine and the propylene glycol, are used. But sometimes companies, in order to do the cost cutting, they use the cheaper substitutes. These cheaper substitutes are actually not allowed by the law and are also dangerous, but the companies anyhow use it. So what happens, in order to cut the expenses, okay, in order to cut the expensive, the components such as the diethylene glycol and the ethylene glycol that we discussed, okay, that we discussed up, okay, which lead to kidney failure, they are used. Sometimes their concentration increases so much that actually it becomes fatal, and this is exactly the same thing that has happened in this particular case. So the company, that is the Madden Pharma, in order to cut on the cost, they have used these cheaper dangerous substitutes. Now such kind of contamination has happened in the past in India, in USA, in Bangladesh, Panama, Nigeria. Guys, even in the Jammu, there was some of the deaths of the children that have happened because of the consumption of the cough syrup which have the DEG. Okay, in the Kerala and Tamil Nadu also such kind of things had happened, and the same pharmaceutical company had done earlier also such kind of things. Now actually there are the two of the dimensions that are opening up in this particular thing. First dimension that opens up, it is the ethical dimension. Now guys, what is the ethical dimension that will be opening up here in this particular case? Now when we talk about the ethics, there is a particular branch of ethics, that is the corporate ethics. Corporate ethics. Now the corporate, they have a societal, moral and legal responsibility. Okay, and when we talk about the moral responsibility, no corporate should go on with the trade practices which might impact the health and the well-being of the people as well as the environment. Now when we see these kind of instances, we find this thing that the profit has been given more importance, and this is this is the violation of Gandhiji's theory of seven social sins. Gandhiji in his theory of seven social sins has said this, that commerce without morality is a sin. So this is a commerce without the morality. Only for the sake of profit, such kind of a thing has been done. So it calls for the corporate ethics, and second, it also has led to, it has the legal implication. Moreover, it will also tarnish the brand India. It will also tarnish the brand India. Okay, the India being the generic pharmaceutical or pharmacy of the world, it will be problematic. Though, therefore, guys, now what we need to do, we need to take a kind of a proactive step in this particular direction. And when we talk about the proactive step, India need to make sure that the image of India needs to be revived, and an immediate, impartial, and independent investigation in this particular matter should happen, so that again India can be trusted internationally as well as domestically. These pharmaceutical companies who are manufacturing these spurious drugs, adulterated, substandard drugs, immediately on them action is to be taken up. Is it clear? So this is, guys, all the dimensions about this particular issue: science and related science related dimension, corporate ethics, how the brand India will be impacted. Now I will strictly be providing you that please don't go beyond what we have discussed here. Even you download the notes, and after that any article coming on this particular line, you simply need to avoid that, because understand this thing, that the exams need is to be understood. Fine. Then moving on. Now this article also we have taken from the text and the context: the illusion of being faster than light, how a star problem was solved. This particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, science and technology. GS paper number 3, science and technology. Now this particular article can be important for the prelims examination as well as for the mains examination. Earlier article, guys, it is also important for this. Previous article is also important for both prelims as well as mains. Okay. Now, actually, this article, it actually is very complicated if you read it. Okay, and therefore if you have read the article, there are a lot of complications that can be there, but we will simplify this particular article and we'll try to understand it from the very scratch. Actually, if you want to understand this article, you need to go back in you need to go back 5 years back, that is in 2017, when this entire story started. So from the 2017 we will be tracing this particular article, and then only will be able to make sense. Moreover, in between, the blue points that I have given, they are specifically important for your prelims examination, so please focus on that dimension also. Okay, so basically guys, in 2017, in 2017, if you were for reading the newspaper, then you might have also heard that at that point of a time, there were the gravitational waves that were observed. Gravitational waves that were observed. Now, what are these gravitational waves? How they got observed and where they got observed? We'll see all this thing. So there is laser inframeter gravitational wave. Okay, LIGO mission, LIGO project. So the LIGO observatory, it observed the gravitational waves. Now these gravitational waves are observed when two super giant bodies in the space, they collapse with each other. Okay, now the LIGO got a signal that actually two very massive dense stellar bodies, space bodies, they have collided. And actually when it was investigated, it was found that actually what happened, two of the neutron stars, okay, many million light years away, they got merged and they formed a third body, that is a black hole. Now first of all, understand what is a neutron star. So basically guys, neutron star, they are also called as neutron star, they are also called as, just a minute, stellar corpus. Now what is the case? So basically a star, now the star has a particular lifetime. Now when the star will be going towards its death, or when the star will be going towards an end, there will be an explosion or an event, that is the supernova explosion. In the supernova explosion, the star will die, there will be a massive explosion, and after that particular explosion, there will be some of the remnants that will be left behind. Okay, some of the remnants that will be left behind, and these remnants, they are called as the neutron stars. These remnants are called as a neutron star. Now they are extremely dense, they contain more mass than the sun in few of the kilometers. Okay, so the remnants are very dense. Now basically, second, we discussed about the LIGO also, that the LIGO captured this gravitational wave phenomena. So what is LIGO? Let's discuss the details of the prelims also, and then we'll go to the concept. So the LIGO, it stands for laser. Okay, so the LIGO, it stands for laser inframeter gravitational wave observatory, and it is a large scale physics experiment and observatory which is designed to track and which is designed to tap the cosmic gravitational waves. Okay, cosmic gravitational waves. So when there will be the elements that will be colliding, the bodies that will be colliding, the gravitational waves that will be generated will be tapped by the LIGO. Now the LIGO, it operates 3 of the detectors in the USA. 2 of the detectors are into the Hanford, Washington, USA, and the third one is the Livingston, Louisiana, US. So 3 of the detectors are there in the US. And one very important point for the prelims, the LIGO has also provided that one of our detector will be installed in the India also. So the LIGO detector, LIGO India project has been started. Under this LIGO India project, one advanced LIGO detector from the Hanford will be supplied to India. Now this particular project will be piloted by the Department of Atomic Energy as well as the Department of Science and Technology, and it will come in existence, it will be ready by 2025. Where it is being installed? It is being installed into the Maharashtra. It is being installed into the Maharashtra. Okay, so up till now we have seen that the two neutron stars, they got collided, they convert and they got formed into a black hole, and this phenomena was observed in the LIGO mission. Okay, all this thing we have discussed. Now guys, when this particular merger happened, or whenever the merger of the two such super dense bodies will happen, there will be the gravitational waves, there will be the gamma ray burst that will be there, energy will be coming out of that particular explosion, all these particular kind of things. So basically guys, what has happened when this particular merger happened? When this merger happened, it was the strongest ever observed merger. It emitted the gamma rays, okay, it emitted a lot of energy, it emitted the gravitational waves, and by these particular mergers, it has been found that the heaviest metals in the universe, such as the gold, platinum, they are also created by the mergers of such kind of things. Now when this particular merger happened, the readings have also been recorded by some of the other observatories also apart from the LIGO. So here we get two names, that is the Global Astrometric Inframeter for Astrophysics, that is the Gaia spacecraft. And the second is the Hubble Space Telescope. So Hubble Space Telescope and the Gaia spacecraft, they have also noted the readings of this particular merger that happened in 2017. And at that point of a time, guys, after few weeks after that in event, it was found that there is an unusual matter that has also been found. That is the jet of matter. Unusual jet of matter was also found. So it is also called by the name of the jet matter. Fine. Now, what perplexed when this jet matter was observed? It was observed that actually it is a traveling faster than the light. Now, understand this particular thing. It was said that it travels 7 times. It travels, this jet matter travels 7 times faster than the light. Now, when we talk about the entire physics, it is based on an idea that nothing runs faster than the light. Okay, all the calculations have done on that particular thing. Is it clear or not? Even the Einstein's idea is based on this thing that the light travels the fastest. If this thing would be true, then the entire foundation of the physics would have been shattered. Okay, entire foundation of the physics would have been shattered. So it perplexed the entire scientific community that is it real that there is an unusual matter which travels faster than the light? Yes or no? Now, for the 5 years, this particular thing has been analyzed. For the 5 years, this particular thing has been analyzed by the Hubble telescope and the Gaia spacecraft. Okay, and now they have processed and analyzed it sufficiently, and they have provided that no, it doesn't travel faster than the light. Okay, they have provided this particular thing that actually this is an illusion. Okay, the jet, this particular jet particle, it is moving faster than the speed of light. It is an illusion. Okay, and this illusion is called as superluminal motion. Please keep it in your mind. Now such kind of a things can be asked in your prelims examination. So this is an illusion which is called as the superluminal motion. According to the scientist there, they have said this particular thing that this happens when a source moves towards us with a velocity that is very close to the light's velocity. It has been said that this jet particle, its velocity is very much close to the light, to the velocity of the light, and when it will travel at such a speed, there will be an illusion that it is actually traveling more faster than the light itself. Okay, and that illusion will be called as that illusion will be responsible for this. Okay, now it is being said that actually when the jet is moving nearly at the speed of the light, just a minute, I'll use a different color pen. So when the jet is moving nearly at the speed of a light, okay, now this is a jet particle, it will emit a light, okay, and it will follow this light, okay, at the same speed. It will follow this light at the same speed, then again it will emit light, and it will again follow that particular light stream. So this will lead to an illusion. So actually it doesn't travels faster than the light, it is simply an illusion, and the motion that it is following, it is a superluminal motion. Is it clear? Fine. So this is, guys, the entire thing that has happened, and if this thing which was earlier said would have been true, then entire basis of the physics would have been shaken. Now, one more thing I want to tell you little bit. Let's discuss about the Gaia as well as the Hubble Space Telescope that we have discussed. So when we talk about the Gaia, okay, it is a space observatory, and this space observatory is of the European Space Agency. It was launched into the space in the low Earth orbit in 2013 and will be operating till 2025. So this Gaia, it is a mission not on the land but in the space. It has been designed for astrometry. Okay, astrometry, that is measuring the positions, distance between the stars and other celestial bodies, their positions, all such kind of a thing. Then there is also the Hubble Space Telescope. Hubble Space Telescope, this also we discussed, because Hubble Space Telescope and Gaia, both of them have tracked this particular development. So the Hubble Space Telescope, it is a space telescope that was launched into the low Earth orbit into the 1990s, and it is still into the operation. Is it clear or not? Okay, so it has been built by the contributions of NASA as well as the European Space Agency. Okay, that is all about this particular article. Now, this is a very important article for our science and technology and related issues. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Whose pleasure? Whose pleasure? So this particular article discusses about the recent controversy between the office of governor and the office of chief minister and council of ministers that have happened in the state of Kerala. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2 polity, within the polity, GS paper number 2 polity, and within the polity in the issues of federalism. The issues of federalism will see this particular article. Okay, let's discuss this article. So basically guys, the article is talking about, first of all I'll tell you what has happened in the Kerala, and then we'll see the implications of this particular article. So recently the governor of Kerala tweeted has tweeted this particular thing, that if any minister will speak anything against the office of the governor or will try to lower down the dignity of the office of the governor, then they will be sacked, the pleasure of the governor will be withdrawn, they will be removed from their office. So this is something which has opened up a constitutional debate, that what are the limits to the power of the governor? Can governor really do this particular thing? Is it allowed by the constitution or not? So basically governor has threatened to take the actions. Now we need to first read the article number 164 in this particular direction. So article 164 of the constitution provides this thing very clearly, that the chief minister shall be appointed by the governor, and all other ministers also will be appointed by the governor, but on the recommendations, on the advice of the chief minister. This is the provision of article 164. But understand, governor cannot appoint anybody as chief minister. Only that person can be appointed who has the majority in the house, and only the ministers who will be suggested by chief minister, they can only be appointed as ministers. Even there is the provision, that is the officers, that is the chief minister and the council of minister, will hold the office till the pleasure of the governor, and there is a possibility that the governor can withdraw the pleasure, but governor cannot withdraw the pleasure on his or her own whims and fancies. There are actually the constitutional situations only when the governor can withdraw the pleasure. It has been provided very clearly that when the chief minister is not able to prove the majority in the house, then only the governor can withdraw the pleasure. Moreover, the ministers, governor cannot remove any minister on his or her own whimsies. Only if chief minister will recommend their removal, then only they have to be removed. Moreover, there are many of the judicial judgments also that had come in the past few years, because there are the controversies that have happened in many of the states, and judiciary has determined that how to prove that whether majority supports the chief minister or not, that is to be proved on the floor of the house through a confidence vote. So whenever the support to the chief minister is doubtful, a confidence vote is to be raised, and if the house supports, then governor cannot remove such chief minister. So the governor's pleasure is conditional on the constitutional situation. It is not completely discretionary. That is something that has happened. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that the governor can only remove the ministers onto the advice of the chief minister. Now understand this thing, in the past there are many of the confrontations that have happened in the Kerala between the governor and between the chief minister. Now the confrontation that had happened, it is particularly because of a one bill, and we have discussed this particular bill also multiple times into the newspaper in our classes. That is the Kerala University Law Amendment Bill 2022. Is it clear? And then there is a Lokayukta Act also there, that was a kind of a controversy. Now understand this particular thing. We have seen few days back an editorial that where the governor said this particular thing publicly, that I will withhold this particular bill, I will withhold the consent to this I will withhold the assent to this particular bill. At that point of a time, the government, the legislative assembly of the Kerala asked the governor that why you are withholding the assent, you give the bill to us for the reconsideration, will reconsider that particular bill, but why you are withholding the assent? But there the Kerala governor refused. Now this particular thing also at that point of a time opened up the controversy that the governor is bound by the aid and advice of the chief minister and council of minister, and everything that the governor has to do, it is on to the basis of aid and advice of the chief minister and council of minister. Okay, this is also the controversy that opened at that point of a time. On other side also there were the arguments, but what we are saying is that actually In the education, there are some of the controversies between the governor and chief minister. Actually, governor, they have been provided that governor will be the chancellors of the universities. Governor will be the chancellors of the universities. Is it clear? Now, because of this particular thing, on the university matters, on the matters of higher education, friction between the chief minister and governor will be always be very much high. Is it clear or not? Now the article is simply provided this thing that already Punchi Commission, okay, now some people call it Punchi Commission, somebody call it Panchi Commission. Okay, so fine. So please don't poke on pronunciation. So the Punchi Commission or Panchi Commission, they had said that governor already should not be burdened with the role of chancellors. Governor has so many of the constitutional duties, so they should not be burdened by this particular role. So they should be relieved by this particular duty. But up till now, this thing has not happened. Fine. So therefore, we need to see this particular thing that right now, as the controversies and confrontation between the chief minister and the governor are increasing, this particular matter needs to be resolved with a kind of a constitutional, morality, and the constitutional spirit should not be forgotten. This particular rivalry should not become a personal rivalry. Rather, the constitutional spirit, principles of federalism should be respected. So this is, guys, all the dimensions that have come in this particular article. Fine, all these academic dimensions. Now this particular article will also have the political connotation. This political connotation, okay, not important for your examination. Now moving to the next article. Grazing animals key to long-term soil carbon stability, IISC study. Now this article will see with respect to prelims examination as well as GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3 environment, and the prelims examination environment and environment and ecology. This article will be seen. Okay, now before going in this particular article, guys, let's discuss some of the background of this particular study, and then we'll see that what this study is talking about in very simple words. So basically, guys, a study has been carried by Center for Ecological Sciences, that is the CES, and the Divecha Center for Climate Change, under the IISC. Okay, so under IISC, there are the two, that is the Center for Ecological Sciences and Devecha Center for Climate Change. They have studied, and this study was very long, 16-year long study has been done. Okay, 16-year long study have been done, and they have tried to determine that what is the role of the large mammalian herbivores. Herbivores are those animals which only feed the grasses and such kind of a thing. They don't feed on animal or other flesh. So the large herbivore mammals such as the yak, ibex. Now the yak and ibex are the large herbivore mammals that will be found in the region such as the Spiti region of the Himalayas. They graze on the grass. Now what role they play there? Do they have any positive role to play? Yes or no? Now this particular experiment had revealed this particular thing, that if we remove these grazing animals, or we remove these grazing by the herbivores, then it will impact the ecosystem very significantly. The carbon fluctuations will be observed. Now let's discuss this article little bit in more the detail. Now article says this thing, that first of all you need to understand the basic fact, and this fact is very important for your prelims examination anyhow. Apart from this development also, soil contains more carbon than all the plants as well as the atmosphere combined. So in the soil there is a lot of carbon that is trapped. Actually, it has been provided that when the plants die, when the animals die, the dead organic matter, it gets trapped into the soil, and in that dead organic matter there is a lot of carbon that is stored. Actually, what will be happening, this dead organic matter will remain in the soil for long. However, eventually the microbes, the bacteria, they will break down this particular organic matter, and when they'll break down, the carbon will be released into the atmosphere as the carbon dioxide. So today, lot of biomass, lot of organic matter of plants, organic matters of animal, it is buried into the soil, and the carbon is trapped there. Is it clear or not? So that is one thing, little bit of a background. Now understand this particular thing, that this carbon level, okay, now how much carbon will be released, how much carbon will be stored, the nitrogen plays a very important role in deciding this particular carbon's fluctuation. Okay, again I'm telling, the nitrogen plays an important role in this carbon fluctuation, that how much carbon will be stored, how much will be released as the carbon dioxide. Now when these animals, they are grazing the soil, what happen, they actually, their interactions restore the nitrogen, and this interaction leads to the stability. So therefore the grazing of these animals on the grasslands in the Spiti region in Himalaya is actually beneficial. It is actually beneficial. Now if you see here what has been provided, the grazing by the herbivores changes their interaction in the way that tip the balance in favor of the former, that is, in the balance, it restore the balance, it stabilizes the ecosystem. So therefore it plays a very, very important role. Okay, now guys, this is a very peculiar study. This is a very peculiar and a very different kind of a study, that how the grazing and how the interactions are helping in restoring the nitrogen balance, and that nitrogen balance is helping in bringing the stability into the carbon fluctuations into the soil. So this is something very different, very new. I hope you have understood it. Okay, that is all about it, and the study has been conducted under the IISc. Okay, that is all. We'll now move to the next article. Solar Alliance approves funding mechanism. Okay, now this particular article we'll see with respect to the GS paper number 2. We'll see it with respect to GS paper number 2, international groupings, and secondly we'll see this article with respect to the GS paper number 3, environment, Okay, moreover, in the prelims examination, I have given the prelim specific information. So guys, now we are trying this particular thing, that in every article both the prelims as well as the mains dimension should be covered. So specific prelims point you will be finding in every article. Even in this particular article, the carbon cycling was discussed. Okay, in the earlier article, the article 164, before that also LIGO, Hubble, Gaia, all these things are there. So please keep it in your mind for the prelims examination. They are very, very important. Okay, now first of all, let's discuss little bit about the International Solar Alliance, and then we'll go in the present development that what has happened. Okay, so first of all, when we talk about, guys, the International Solar Alliance, it is an association which wants to enhance the solar cooperation in the world. First of all, the aim of the International Solar Alliance, is to ensure the energy needs of the world by harnessing the solar energy. Now there is an objective of the International Solar Alliance, that is global deployment of 1000 gigawatt of solar generation capacity and mobilization of $1000 billion in the solar energy by 2030. So $1000 billion and 1000 gigawatt of solar energy will be deployed. Okay, Originally, the International Solar Alliance aimed to make all the countries between the Tropic of Cancer, and between the Tropic of Capricorn should join the International Solar Alliance, okay, and should generate the solar electricity. But now the mandate of the International Solar Alliance has been expanded. As of today, 106 countries have signed the International Solar Alliance framework, and today all the member countries of the United Nations are eligible to join the International Solar Alliance. So originally it was emphasized that countries between Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn will be focused, okay, but now it is open to all. So please keep it in mind, the membership is open to all. The International Solar Alliance, it's headquartered in India, Gurugram. And it is actually also the brainchild of two countries, that is India and France. Now understand this particular thing, that when we talk about India, India has already taken enhanced carbon pledges. India has taken the enhanced carbon pledges. In the COP26, we have taken the Panch Amrit. In COP26, we have taken the Panch Amrit, and under this Panch Amrit, we have already provided that the 50% of India's energy needs will be fulfilled by the renewable energy by the year 2030. Moreover, if you are following the analysis regularly, few days back we have seen that officially officially India has also updated its intended nationally determined contribution INDC targets. Okay, so originally INDC targets were taken in 2015. We have revised the INDC targets, and India officially will now be making sure that at least 500 gigawatt or 50% of the energy should be coming from the renewable. So there the solar will play a very important role. Whenever we talk about renewable, solar will always play a very important role. Now guys, understand that under the International Solar Alliance, there are I told you, it's a global initiative. Okay, so all the countries, they are needed to be deploying the solar capacity, but over the past few years it has been seen that the investments are not coming. Okay, so in order to bring more and more investment, in order to bolster the investment, the new facility, that is the solar facility, has been launched. Where the solar facility has been launched? It has been launched into the General Assembly of ISA. It has been launched into the General Assembly of the International Solar Alliance. What is this solar facility? This solar facility will provide a payment guarantee mechanism, okay, in order to bring more and more private sector investment into the solar plants, into the solar electricity. Now, under this solar facility, there are two initiatives that have been started. That is number one, solar payment guarantee fund, and the number two, solar insurance fund. What is the aim of this facility? It is to attract more and more private capital in the underserved markets in Africa. Now you see this particular thing, guys, that Africa, it is a very big landmass, and in the Africa there are the countries where the habitations are very much scattered. Now, in order to provide electricity to these scattered habitation, transmission lines are to be deployed, solar plants are to be deployed. Now, when the solar plants are to be deployed, obviously many number of times they might not be having the viable markets. Sometimes the tariffs might not be very much high. So now the private sector always aims for profit maximization. Okay, so the private sector might not come into these unviable markets, might not come in these underserved markets, but we need to bring them. So for this particular thing, this solar facility has been launched. Now under this solar facility, what will happen? The International Solar Alliance will crowdsource the investments from various donors across the globe. Now, what is crowdsourcing? Basically, guys, many number of times on the YouTube, you might be coming across certain ads which are being launched by the Milap Impact Guru, where they say that some person is suffering from some disease and we should contribute to that particular person. Okay, and people pool the money to help that particular person. So this, when people pool up the money for a particular resource, that is called as the crowdsource funding. It is called as the crowdsource funding. Now, what the International Solar Alliance is aiming? International Solar Alliance will go to the donor agencies. For example, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is there, Azim Premji Foundation is there, let's say Tata Trust is there. So they will go to the donors across the world and they will ask for the crowdsourced investment. Okay, they will provide that you please invest in these particular kind of funds as a philanthropy, as a exercise. Okay. Now, by this particular investment, the proposed projects in the Africa would be able to purchase payment guarantees and partial insurance premiums. Now, whenever a company, just a minute, let me see it is visible or not. Okay, I'll zoom in. So, suppose whenever a solar developer wants to provide the electricity to the houses, they need to take insurance. For example, if some kind of a liability, some a mishap happens, so they need to have an insurance. Moreover, they also need to buy the purchase guarantees, okay, and they need a lot of money for that thing. So therefore, this crowdsource fund will help in these particular kind of a dimension. Okay, so by this particular thing, even in the Africa underserved markets, they will be able to deploy more and more solar projects, and by this particular thing, 1000 gigawatt of solar generation by 2030 can be achieved. Okay, so I hope that this is clear, and now we'll move to the next article. Supreme Court asks government to develop modules on drug abuse that can render as order. Now this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 1, social issues, GS paper number 1, social issues, GS paper number 2, social justice, GS paper number 2, social issues, social justice. Fine, even in the health, drug abuse. even in the health drug abuse, we'll see this particular article. Now, now, okay. Now, a drug menace is a very big problem in India. Drug menace is a very big problem in India. You might already be knowing this particular thing, and in this particular direction, there are certain reports that I want to tell you. So, the report by the Narcotics Control, the report by the Narcotics Control Bureau, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, Controller Auditor General of India, and even the AIMS report, that is the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIMS, all of them have provided that a big chunk or a sizable population in India, particularly the young students, are addicted to the drugs, and the drug menace, drug problem has further increased in the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic. So when the COVID-19 pandemic was there, people were struck into the houses. They searched for the new avenues by which they can access the drugs, and it has actually pushed the drug peddlers, drug user on the dark web. So on the dark web is that version of the internet which is not accessible to the common people. So by special platforms, that dark web can be accessed. So on that, these drugs are being sold, and they are being supplied through couriers and the postal services. So as there are the packages for the books, packages, the clothes are being posted in that particular way, the drugs are being peddled across the country. And there is one more dimension of this particular drug angle that is coming. The National Investigation Agency, NIA, as well as a Directorate of Revenue, Directorate of Revenue, they are investigating, is there a narco terror angle in this particular direction? Is there a narco terror angle? Now guys, understand this particular thing, that India is sandwiched between two hostile neighbors. India is sandwiched between two hostile neighbors. On one hand, there is Pakistan, and on another hand, there is China. Okay. Now, many number of times, we have seen this particular thing, that the terrorism has been exported. Okay, the terrorism has been exported to India by these two countries. Is it clear? And today when we talk about India, India is facing the demographic dividend, and this demographic dividend, this youth, it is a superpower of India. But the Pakistan and China might deliberately use their certain networks to peddle the drugs in India, and that could be the narco terrorism that is being spread. So the narco terror angle could also be there in India. Moreover guys, when we talk about India, India is also sandwiched. Okay, just a minute, I will show you it also. India is also sandwiched between the golden crescent and golden triangle. India is also sandwiched between the golden crescent and golden triangle. Now what are these golden crescent and golden triangles? I'll show you, just give me 1 second. Okay, fine. So you can see here in the picture. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, fine. So India is sandwiched between the golden crescent and golden triangle. So we have on one hand the three countries, that is this Iran, Afghanistan and Pakistan. Now this particular region which encompasses the Iran, Pakistan and Afghanistan, it is one where in substantial quantities these drugs are manufactured. And on another hand, we have this golden triangle. So in golden triangle there are Myanmar, Laos, Thailand and Vietnam. So this particular golden triangle region also manufactures a lot of drugs. Is it clear? So India is sandwiched. On one hand golden crescent, on one hand golden triangle. We are sandwiched between that. So there is a lot of drug peddling that is happening in India. Okay, and the narco terror angle might be there. So so this is something that is very serious. This is something that is very much serious. Okay, so therefore in the past many of the high courts also have brought the cognizance towards this particular matter. In 2020, the Madras High Court had observed that drug abuse was the major triggers behind commission of the heinous offences such as the rape, murders, okay, excessive violence. It is because of the drug abuse. Then the next is the Kerala High Court After Madras, Kerala High Court also directed that the state government needs to establish the campus police units in the educational institutions, because today the students are very much addicted to these particular drugs. And at the same time, the Punjab and Haryana High Court is basically hearing the rampant drug problem that is there in the Punjab. Just 2 days back, we have seen one article also that even the women are substantially addicted by this particular drug problem. Okay, so there are so many of the nitty-gritties, so many of the complexities because of this particular drug problem. Now what has happened? Actually guys, this article is just a one-line article only. Now the Supreme Court has asked the government, to develop certain modules, okay, or to develop certain guidelines onto the drug abuse that can act as an order to different enforcement agencies, different organizations, that how they can curb this particular problem of drug abuse. So certain modules or guidelines should be developed by the government and they need to be enforced and they need to be rendered as an order. Okay, so this is just the thing that has happened, and the COVID-19 pandemic has further exacerbated the problem of drug. So this is guys the all thing, but you need to know this entire background first. You need to know these background first. Okay, so that is all about this, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay, Tamil Nadu House urges center not to implement language panel report. Now this particular article will see with respect to the social issues. We'll see the article with respect to, just a minute, we'll see with respect to the social issues. Okay, now basically if you remember guys, just yesterday also we have discussed this particular article. Okay, and in this direction now one development has come, and that development will discuss. Basically, first of all, let me tell you the background. So we'll see that. Okay, let's revise the background. So parliamentary committee on official language was constituted. And this particular committee has suggested that in the education, the medium of instruction should be Hindi, if it is a Hindi speaking state, and it should be in the regional languages in the other states. So the central institutions, specifically the central institutions, need to follow this particular formula. Okay, they need to follow this particular formula. Now first of all, I want to tell you some of very basic kind of a things. Number one, India doesn't have any national language. We don't have any national language. When we talk about the official language of India are two. There will be the Hindi, as well as the English will also be the link language. Now, when we talk about the official language issue, actually in 1950, there was a controversy that whether we should make official language as only Hindi or only English. At that point of a time, the house was divided. Many people said that only Hindi should be used as an official language. Many other people said that only English should be used as an official language. The voting was done, and in favor of Hindi, this particular voting was the voting was won. Actually, only one vote extra was there in the favor of Hindi. But at that point of a time, many of the leaders from the South India, they put forward their apprehension. They said that if only the Hindi will be made as an official language, then what about the people in South India who don't know Hindi? If the Hindi will be the official language, then even the examinations to the central agencies, the UPSC examination, for example, will only be conducted in Hindi, and it will have a distinct advantage for the North Indians, but the South Indian people will be suffering by that particular thing. So as a compromise in 1950, it was decided that the Hindi will be the official language, but for next 15 years, English will also continue as a link official language. This particular thing was provided, so the timeline was fixed till 1965. Now guys, as this 1965 was approaching, there were the agitations that got started in the South India, and these agitations provided these agitations, the basic contention was this, that what after 1965, we don't want that the Hindi should be the only official language of India. It was said that it is nothing but the Hindigenization of India. India. So therefore this particular thing needs not to be implemented. Now guys, 1959 onwards, the assurances were given. In 1959, Jawaharlal Nehru personally gave an assurance to the leaders in the South India that Hindi will not be imposed on them. But what happened? Then there was the untimely death of Jawaharlal Nehru that happened. And after the death of the Jawaharlal Nehru, will the Hindi be imposed or not? That is a kind of a apprehension that came. And after the Jawaharlal Nehru, when Shastriji became the Prime Minister, Shastriji said that no, Hindi will not be imposed. But then there was the untimely death in Takshint of the Shastriji also. So there was a lot of controversy, and finally in 1967, the Indira Gandhi cleared the controversy and said that English will continue to be the official language till the time South India wants. The leaders, the people of the South India want. That is something that happened. Before that, guys, also there was an amendment was brought in the Official Language Act, but there was a controversy onto the wording of that particular act. Is it clear or not? So the final controversy got resolved in 1967. Okay, now as we talk about this particular thing, many number of times still there are the distrust between the North India and the South India. Often it has been alleged that the North India wants to impose the Hindi on the South India. Now why in this particular matter this thing has come? You might be wondering that in Hindi speaking states they are saying that the central institution should use Hindi as a medium of instruction. What is the problem in that? The problem is, guys, this I have highlighted in the red color. Okay, now the problem I'm not saying, the problem is what it has been put forward by the leaders. Okay, they say that now when we talk about the central institutions, there will be the colleges, universities that will be coming. There can be a possibility that a student from Tamil Nadu might get admission in a state like Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, which are majorly the Hindi speaking states. Now there, if the medium of instruction will be Hindi as suggested by this parliamentary standing committee, how she may continue their education. Okay, they will not be able to continue their education. So it has been provided that let it be English only, don't impose the Hindi or such kind of a thing. And if you see, actually the problem will also be faced by the North Indians also. So if a person from let's say if a person from Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh gets an admission in Bengaluru, gets an admission in Karnataka, then if into the central institution Kannada language is being used, fine, there will be the problem. So therefore it has been said that such kind of a thing will not bring any kind of substantial gains. Okay, now this is the thing that is happening. I have given you this particular the controversy that I explained you here. I had explained this particular here also. So if you want to read after the class, you can do that particular thing. Now finally what had happened, the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly, they have adopted a resolution and has asked the center that center should not implement the recommendations which have been given by the Parliamentary Committee on Official Language. Now these recommendations have already been submitted to the President of India. So these recommendations should not be accepted, should not be implemented. It might lead to again the problem of Hindigenization, and this problem of Hindigenization has come many number of times. Actually the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister had said that since 1938 again and again this particular thing has been there. In 1968 when the new national education policy came, then also the three language formula which came, under that three language formula Hindi was being imposed on South India. Even the new education policy 2020 has talked about the three language formula where South India is expected to learn the Hindi, but they might not be comfortable in this particular direction. So guys, just a minute. So in this particular direction, all these particular issues have come. I hope that you have understood the article. Okay, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay, now the High Court seeks the status of the Kerala government on the move to enact the law against the superstitions. Okay, now this is actually a very important article, guys, because a few days back we have seen this particular issue of the human sacrifice that happened in Kerala. Now after this human sacrifice issue that happened, I told you at that point of a time also that you don't need to read the crime related dimension, that okay, at what time, at what place, who was killed, what was the conspiracy behind that. No, that is not, but we need to see the academic dimension, and that academic dimensions we are going to do here. Okay, now what is the academic dimension? First of all, when we talk about, guys, the human sacrifice, okay, I had now first of all, this article will be important in social justice. This article will be important in social justice, GS paper number 2. Okay, now understand this particular thing. There's one doubt. Where can I find this newspaper, sir? Okay, you can download the synoptic notes that we are discussing here in the Telegram channel. The link is given in the description box. Okay, in the YouTube, you can visit the Telegram also. Now, when we talk about the human sacrifice, according to the National Crime Record Bureau, according to the National Crime Record Bureau, it has been provided that 68 murders only in the year 2021 has been reported because of the witchcraft, and in this 6 murders of the child, 6 cases of the human sacrifice have been there. Now, guys, witchcraft, black magic, witchcraft, black magic, clear? Sometimes black magic or the sorcery, okay, sorcery, I'll just write it here. Sorcery, black magic, okay, occult practices, witchcraft, tantra, jhad fook. These are a kind of a big part of the superstition that many a times prevails in certain parts of the countries. And because of that particular superstitious practices, many a times murders, planned human sacrifices, they happened. And we already discussed that according to National Crime Record Bureau, it is a very big issue. It is a very big issue. Now, guys, in this particular direction, some of the state governments have already framed some of the laws. For example, the Maharashtra and Karnataka, they have already framed the laws against such kind of a practices. But up till now, we don't have a pan-India law on that particular thing. However, guys, you understand this particular thing. When we talk about the law and order is also a state subject, and as it is a state subject, there is a primary responsibility of the state government to frame the law on that particular direction. Okay, now in this particular direction, guys, it has been provided that for the state of the Kerala, already there was the state law reform commission that came, and this state law reform commission provided this particular thing, that a Kerala prevention and eradication of inhuman evil practices, sorcery and black magic bill should be brought into the Kerala. It should be passed and it should be implemented immediately. But up till now, the Kerala government has not taken substantial step in this particular direction, and this issue of the human sacrifice have happened. Now, guys, what had happened finally, why this particular article has come in this particular direction? Now, the Kerala High Court has asked the Kerala government, the state government, that they should inform the Kerala High Court the status about this particular development, the steps that they have taken in order to eradicate the evil practices, sorcery, black magic, and all such kind of thing. So what steps they should take? It is something that they have provided. Is it clear or not? Now, guys, when we talk about these human sacrifices or these practices, why they happen? They happen because of the poor education. They happen because of the poor education. Because when there is poor education, a person might not be having the scientific temperament. And they might be carried away with this particular thing. Secondly, sometimes because of the excessive poverty, these particular things are just seen as quick fixes. Thirdly, guys, these particular incidents happened because of the poor law and order and poor enforcement. Such kind of a things also happen. Moreover, many number of times, guys, as to settle the personal rivalry, also some of these occult babas, etc., they also deviate the poor ignorant people. So these particular things are need to be settled. Now, guys, it is not only a legal problem, it is not a law and order problem, it is also a social issue. And in that particular thing, we always, now Abhi, understand this thing, wherever the social issue will come, please use this word ICE, information communication education. So information communication education, it is something which is needed to bring the social sensitization, and by the social sensitization, this particular thing can be resolved. So this is, guys, all about this particular article, and please use the references such as the State Law Reform Commission of Kerala, which suggested the Kerala prevention and eradication of inhuman evil practices. Entire entire big title you don't need to remember, just simple you can remember in short, Kerala prevention of social evils or Kerala prevention of black magic bill. Okay, that is something. Now understand this particular thing guys, that when you are writing the mains answer, fine, it you always need to make sure that your answer should have some additional points which will make your answer above average. Okay, and these points are something which will make your answers above average. That is all about it, and now we'll move to the next article. Then the dire need to talk about the 1962. So guys, this particular article, it is talking about the 1962 war. It is talking about the 1962 war. Now 2020 20th October 2020, it marks the 50-year anniversary in this particular direction. Okay, it marks the 50-year anniversary of the India-China war or the Sino-India war that happened. Guys, please never call it as Indo-China, okay, because Indo-China means the three countries, that is the Laos, Cambodia and Vietnam. So when we talk about the India-China, we either call it as Sino-India or India-China, not Indo-China. Okay, now the article is talking about the 1962 India-China or the Sino-India war that began on the October 20, that is tomorrow. Okay, now it has been provided that guys, since in the past we have celebrated the golden jubilee of we have commemorated the anniversaries for the 1965 war, we have celebrated the anniversaries for the 1971 war where the India Bangladesh war happened, where India Pakistan war happened and liberation of Bangladesh happened. But the article says that there is no indication of the celebration of the 1962 India China it has been said that observance of that particular war will not be there. Observance of that particular war will not be there. Now it has been said that so many people lost their lives, and as so many people lost their lives, it is something that we, in order to pay our tributes to these people, in order to pay our tributes, in order to show our respect to the people, the martyrs who lost their lives, we need to have a symbolic observance of this particular day. But it has not been the case. Now the article has briefly provided that how this particular war got started. This particular war got started because of, mainly guys, it is okay. Now Bipin Chandra has explained that it is mainly the ego problem of the China. First of all, when we talk about guys, the China got independence in 1949. In 1949, and at that point of a time, India's policy towards China was to maintain the cordial relation, peaceful relations with the China. In this particular direction, guys, even in 1954, the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, Panchsheel principles, were also signed between the India and China. Now, on the basis of the Panchsheel agreement, 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai also came. Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai also came. Now, first of all, understand guys, two things. Number one, many number of times it is said that it was the misplaced idealism in foreign policy of the Jawaharlal Nehru by this, but why on, and because of that particular thing, this issue happened. Basically, it has been provided that at that point of a time, we were not able to foresee the real intentions of China. We failed to see the real intention of China, and because of that particular thing, that happened. Actually, guys, it has been said that from the very start, there was a disputed Himalayan border. Okay, the Himalayan border, fine, was always disputed between India and China. Now China never deliberately settled that particular issue to the core. Moreover, if you remember, in 1959, what happened? The Tibetan uprising that happened, and the Tibetan people, okay, first of all, now the China, first of all, proclaimed that the Tibet is a part of China. And after the Tibet's proclamation by the China, Tibetan uprising happened, and then the Dalai Lama and many of the Tibetans, they came to India. Is it clear? India gave them asylum. India gave them asylum. Now this is something that has irritated the China, that why the Tibetan refugees have been hosted by India, one thing. But one more thing is there, that actually guys, when the Tibet was acquired by the China, India recognized Tibet as the part of China. Now it is also something that at that point of a time, leaders missed one opportunity. What is that opportunity? Guys, at that point of a time, unconditionally, India recognized Tibet as the part of China. It has been said that at point of a time, it could be used as a bargaining chip by the leadership. We could have said that only Tibet will be recognized if the LAC issues, if the border issues will be resolved between India and China, but that bargaining chip was not used. Okay, and the China, because of their ego problems, because India has granted asylum to the Dalai Lama, fine, the China in 1962 brought the attack on the India. Now, in this particular direction, the author says this thing that the Henderson Brooks Bhagat report has been there. Now, Henderson Brooks Bhagat report has carried a review on the had carried an operation review of the India's army during the Sino-India War of 1962. Now, many a number of times it has been said that there might be some operational deficiencies, or yes or no. Now, for that thing, Henderson Brooks Bhagat report is there. Up till now, this Henderson Brooks Bhagat report has not been released. It has been classified, citing the national security reason. So, the author's view is that Henderson Brooks Bhagat report should be released, and people should really know that what transpired, what transpired at that point of a time, and how this particular war got unfolded, what happened. So this is something that is being discussed. However, no need to go too much into the detail, but yes, one thing I want to tell, in the post-independence history, the 1962 Sino-India War becomes a very important event this year because of the 50-year anniversary that is going to be observed. Okay, that is all about it. Now we'll move to the next article. Giraffes brought to India by British may belong to endangered species. Okay, so the mysterious giraffes. Who are these mysterious giraffes? Now see this thing. No need to go too much into the detail, but I'll tell you all the important issues with respect to this particular article. So basically, guys, what happened when we talk about the giraffe population in India? There is a particular species of giraffe that has been brought in India by the British colonist around 150 years back. So 150 years back, when the India was colonized, Britishers brought a batch of giraffes from the Africa. Now basically they brought the northern giraffe to India. Now guys, when we talk about the northern giraffe, within the northern giraffe there are the 3 subspecies of the northern giraffe that is there. Is it clear or not? Now these giraffes were brought to India. These giraffes, they are now in different zoos. They are now in different breeding centers. Today there are 29 such northern giraffes that are existing throughout the country, and the biggest batch of this giraffe that is there, it is actually into the Alipur Zoological Garden in the Kolkata. And they have provided that actually the giraffes that are there in India, they are either the Nubian giraffe, which is actually critically endangered as per the IUCN Red List, or they are the Rothschild giraffe. Now the Rothschild giraffe is endangered onto the IUCN Red List. So it's not confirmed that which actually they are, but it is a probability that the giraffes that we have, okay, again I'll repeat it if there is doubt, the giraffes that we have, either they can be the Nubian giraffe. Now the Nubian giraffe are critically endangered. Or these giraffes might be Rothschild giraffe. Now the Rothschild giraffe are endangered by the IUCN Red List. Now what exactly these giraffes are, that particular thing can only be known by carrying the mitochondrial gene study. They can only be known by carrying the mitochondrial gene study, and that mitochondrial gene study will be done. Now actually both, that is the Rothschild giraffe that we discussed as well as the Nubian giraffe that we discussed, they both are the subspecies of the northern giraffe. So they are northern giraffe, but within the northern giraffe, what is their exact make? Okay, that is something that we need to know. So therefore now it is being said that the giraffes may belong to endangered species. So for that thing, the mitochondrial gene study will be done. So this is all, guys, about this particular article, and this article is important for the prelims examination. So this mitochondrial gene study, fine, which is in the news. Now moving for the next article. Government starts spraying the biodecomposer solution in fields as air quality index remains poor. So this article will see with respect to GS paper number 3. Issues related to environment. Okay. Now, in the past also we have discussed this similar article of this particular type. First of all, before going in this particular article, let's take the background and the value addition of this particular article, and then we'll move to this particular article. So basically, you might be knowing this particular thing, that as October and November month are there, in this particular time, the pollution problem in the North India, particularly the national capital of Delhi, it becomes very problematic. And because of that particular thing, I have told you that National Green Tribunal as well as Supreme Court has called that Delhi as the gas chamber, and it has been provided that it violates the article number 21, right to life of the citizens. Now during this particular time, winter problem happens because of the geographical reasons, and the second is because of the anthropogenic reasons, man-made reasons. Now first of all, geographical reasons. During this particular time, there is the slow wind speed, the wind becomes very cold. As the wind becomes cold, as the surface becomes cold, wind becomes cold, it rests near the ground, and the polluted wind, as it rests longer, it impacts the people. Moreover, the wind speed is very much low, so therefore it rests at a particular place, and the concentration of pollution increases. Secondly, the bursting of firecrackers. Stubble burning is a very big problem that is happening, and stubble burning is the major contributor of the winter pollution. Now every year what happened, the graded response action plan is notified, and as per this graded response action plan, lockdowns are imposed, ban on the construction activities is there, entry of the heavy vehicles, trucks, etc., it is restricted. All these things happen. Now we need to curb the root of this particular problem. The root is the stubble burning that happens. Now the stubble burning is done into the regions of Punjab, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh. Why the stubble burning is done? This is the time when the paddy will be harvested, and the wheat is to be sown. Now the paddy straw that is there, this paddy straw, particularly the non-basmati rice straw that is there, it has a high silica content, and because it has high silica content, it cannot be fed to animals. So only way is to burn that particular stubble, and the farmers burn that. That brings the pollution problem. Okay, now it has been provided that in order to, rather burning that, it can be decomposed, and for that particular thing, the Pusa Institute, okay, Indian Agriculture Research Institute at Pusa Road, or simply it is called as Pusa Institute, they have developed the biodecomposer. Now what is this biodecomposer? Biodecomposer, it is a type of a capsule. That has been prepared by extracting certain fungi strains. Okay, now these fungi, now first of all, what is done, this capsule will be taken, and this particular capsule will be converted in a liquid formulation. That liquid formulation will be kept for 8 to 10 days. In 8 to 10 days, that liquid will get fermented. Then that particular liquid will be sprayed over the entire fields, and there what will happen, it will increase the decomposition process of that particular straw. Now that particular straw, if you leave it in the field, anyhow the nature will also decompose it, but now these strains, this particular decomposer liquid, it will basically degrade it, and in very few days these enzymes will complete the degradation process. So what will happen, in the soil only it will get degraded, it will get absorbed. Is it clear or not? Now it has been provided that this Pusa decomposer, it will have many of the benefits. Number one, it will improve the fertility and the productivity of the soil. Because much nutrients that have been exhausted, they will be reverted back. It is efficient, effective, cheaper, doable. Okay, it is very effective, it's very cheap. Okay, this is very eco-friendly, as such leftover will be degraded into the soil. What will happen? There is no need to burn that. Okay, so that is something that is there. Now what this article is talking about, this biodecomposer, government has started spraying this biodecomposer as a solution onto the fields, as the AQI quality is poor. This is something that has happened. Now guys, you don't need to see that on what date what AQI was there in between. However, you will say that the AQI was very good. It is because of the rains that came. Okay, so this is something that has happened. I hope guys that you have understood it. Okay, now we'll move to the next article. We don't believe in hierarchical world. Now this particular article, guys, we'll see with respect to the GS paper number 2, IR IR defense relations, GS paper number 2 IR defense relations, and GS paper number 3 with respect to the indigenization of defense. Indigenization of defense also will see this particular article. Okay, now moving on. Now moving on in this particular direction. Okay guys, now this particular article, it is talking about, this article is talking about the defense cooperation that is going on. Now first of all, guys, I want to tell you little bit this thing, that right now the defense cooperation is going on. The defense cooperation is going, the defense expo is going on. In this defense expo, the India is showcasing its military weaponry, its military hardware, which have been developed by many of the government PSUs. For example, the organizations such as the Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. Then guys, I don't know whether you know it or not, but the Mahindra, Tatas, they also have certain competencies in developing the vehicles which are specifically fit for the armed forces. Okay, so that particular thing will be showcased. So right now the defense expo is going on, and in this defense expo, India's military capabilities are being showcased, and many countries, they are participating. Okay, if you remember, I have shown you today's the newspaper overview. In this particular newspaper overview also, there was a kind of an advertisement of the defense expo that came. Okay, so this defense expo, it is being organized by the Ministry of Defense. Okay, Mahatma Gandhi Convention Center, this is going on. Now as this defense expo is going on, just a minute, as this defense expo is going on, within this defense expo, the Ministry of Defense is hosting two major conclaves. Number one is India Africa Defense Dialogue, and second is the Indian Ocean Region Plus Conclave. Fine. In this particular, now in the India Africa Defense Dialogue, 53 African countries have participated, and it has been conducted yesterday, that is October 18. Today, that is October 19, there is one more conclave that will be held, that is the IOR, Indian Ocean Region Plus Conclave. Now yesterday, this India Africa Defense Dialogue that happened, so in this particular article, we are going to see that what is outcome of that. Okay, so as per this India Africa Defense Dialogue, the Gandhinagar Declaration has been adopted. Gandhinagar Declaration has been adopted. Now, what is this Gandhinagar Declaration? So, Gandhinagar Declaration provides that we need to enhance the cooperation with the African countries. We need to enhance cooperation on many of the fronts. For example, it has been said that cooperation in the field of training. Okay, we need to train each other's troops, particularly the African nations. Their troops are to be trained, because you know that India, it has a huge competency in the defense. Okay, so we need to train them. So mutual training, mutual interest, fine, training slots are to be given, deputation of training teams, empowerment of their armies, empowerment of their defense, capability building. We need to teach them skills. We need to do the capability building by giving them some of the weaponry that they need. So, okay, so the capability building of the defense forces is to be done. Participation in exercises to be increased. Humanitarian assistance is to be given to these countries, and they should be given the assistance during the time of natural disaster. So, three things: cooperation, assistance, capacity building. Cooperation, assistance, capacity building will be given to the African nations. This is the Gandhinagar Declaration that has been signed. Up after that, it has also been provided that the fellowship, okay, fellowships will be given to the experts from the Africa. So the defense experts, they will be given the fellowship at the Manohar Parrikar Institute of Defense Studies and Analysis. This is something that has happened. Now, as this particular conference was going on, the defense minister had made this particular statement. We have said that India does not believe in making or becoming a client or a satellite state. When we partner any nation, it is on to the basis of sovereignty, equality, and mutual respect for each other. Now, if you see the countries such as the China, what the China and these countries, China have done, China aims to make other country dependent on them, but India never works in that particular direction. We always believe in building the capability of the others. Is it clear or not? This is something that has been provided. Now, guys, the article is talking about this particular thing. This is some value addition that I have given you into the last. When we talk about the India has taken up a transformative journey. Okay, India today is the largest India actually up till now was the largest defense importer, and we are trying to become, rather than importer, a net exporter. And in this particular direction, India has provided that we want to achieve the manufacturing turnover of $25 billion, 1,75,000 crore, and out of that $5 billion in aerospace and defense goods is to be achieved by 2025. Is it clear or not? Now in this particular direction, already we have touched 13,000 crore rupees of defense exports in 2021, 2022. Is it clear or not? Now guys, the article is simply talking about this particular thing, that actually we want to find new partners onto the defense cooperation, and as we need to find the new partners on the defense cooperation, in this particular direction, this two conclaves, that is the India Africa Defense Dialogue and Indian Ocean Region Plus conclave that is happening, this is something that is a good initiative, good intervention. Okay, that is all about it. Okay. Guys, just I'll take 30 seconds. There is one doubt that is coming. I can see here that please tell how to get Hindu e-paper. How to get in Hindu e-paper. Guys, just one thing I want to tell, that Hindu e-paper could be bought from the Hindu's website. Okay, the yearly subscriptions that are there, they are very very affordable. Okay, by using the UPSC codes, etc., you might get it in around 900 and 1000 rupees. And ethically, I will insist that please buy the Hindu's genuine copy. You might say that, sir, we cannot afford that or that thing, but it will not cost you even 150 rupees per month. You might be spending more than that on tea, coffee, and all such kind of a thing. I always believe that you should support the investigative journalism. So the Hindu, now as they are publishing the paper, they do a lot of research, a lot of investigation in that particular thing. I am running this particular initiative from my side so that you can understand more nitty-gritties of this particular thing. But I might not be able to put that Hindu e-papers copy because that will be unethical kind of a thing. So please, I will insist that it will not take a lot of money. It is just a very small thing that is there. Please buy that particular thing, and it is something that you should seriously be considering. Don't consider it as an expenditure, consider it as an investment. So you aspiring for the UPSC examination, this investment, I don't think it is too much. So I will insist that please do that thing. Fine, from my side I can do one thing, that I am running the classes every day. Okay, I don't want anything but do that thing. Okay, thank you. I hope you'll understand. Now the next article. It is the government's job to appoint the judge's law minister. Fine. Now, guys, in the past, we have seen many articles, and I think 2-3 days back, there was one article on the collegium system also that came. We have discussed it also. Now, the law minister had said this particular thing, that actually, in 1993, the Supreme Court came out with an issue where the Supreme Court said that the consultation has been converted to concurrence. Now, what has happened? The law minister had said this thing, that it is not right that the Supreme Court is choosing their own judges. Now, I'll just show you that what has happened. It has been provided that the Supreme Court in 1993 defined the consultation as concurrence. Before that, it is being provided that the president, now you might be knowing that the president appoints the judge of the Supreme Court. So president will appoint, but president will just consult with the Chief Justice of India. Okay. Now it has been said that consultation is concurrence. Concurrence means that whatever the Chief Justice of India and the collegium of the 4 judges will be saying, only that thing has to be done by the president and by the government. So it has been said that in 1993, the Supreme Court defined the consultation as concurrence. And this is something which the law minister had said, that in no other field has consultation been defined as concurrence, but in judicial appointment it has happened. This is something that is there. The law minister is saying that nowhere in the world except India is there a practice that judges appoint their brothers as judges. So this is, guys, something very big that has been said by the law minister. Law minister has directly raised the charge of nepotism on the judiciary. Is it clear or not? It has been said that people can see politics among leader, but they do not know the politics going on inside the judiciary. So here the law minister says this particular thing, that the judiciary should not be going forward by appointing the fellow other judges. So this concurrence that has been brought in the place of consultation in 1993, according to the law minister, this is something which should be reconsidered again. Now, from the past few days, there are such confrontations that are coming again and again. These statements are being coming. So just you need to see them just for the making your own understanding, but following it day by day is not very much important. That is all. Now we'll move to the next article. Japan seeks GI geographical indication tag for Nihonshu, an alcoholic beverage. Okay. Now this particular thing will be seen with respect to the prelims examination. Okay. Now, guys, two things I want to tell. First of all, it is a Japanese GI tag. So many a times we are not able to remember the Indian GI tag that are there. So you are not required to remember the GI tags of Japan, Australia, France, other countries. Now, when we talk about the Japan's GI tag, that is a geographical indication tag, they have applied for the GI tag for the Nihonshu. Nihonshu means an alcoholic beverage. Now, this Nihonshu beverage, okay, it is regarded as a special and the valuable beverage, and it is made by fermenting the rice. And this beverage, it is a traditional beverage which people consume on festivals, weddings, funerals. It is also consumed on daily basis by some people. It is actually an integral part of the lifestyle and the culture of Japan. Now, when we talk about the Japanese culture has been very much based around the rice consumption. Rice was even used as a type of a money before the Meiji period, that is the period of 1869 to 1902. So rice is very much centric to them. It is a part of their culture. It is a part of their staple. And the beverage by the rice, the alcoholic beverage that is made, that is the Nihonshu, they want a GI tag for that in India. They want a GI tag for that in India. And this is actually the first time that a product from Japan has filed a GI tag at Chennai. Now, when we talk about the GI tag, guys, GI tag, geographical indication tag, it simply means now there are certain products that are manufactured or that are grown at particular places. For example, basmati rice, for example, Darjeeling tea is there. Now, Darjeeling tea is grown in a particular region, and because if that tea is growing in that particular region, it has a distinct aroma, it has a distinct taste, it has a distinct texture. Now, if we give a GI tag, a geographical tag to a particular product, it gets more better marketability, and other people cannot sell that particular product under the same tag, same name. So, Japan is seeking the GI tag for the Nihonshu, which is a Japanese rice-based beverage. Okay, and this is the first time that they have applied in India. This is something. Now, in this article, they have given the recipe. Okay, that these are the raw materials, and this is done. Now, you don't need to see this particular recipe. If you want to make it at your home, you can see the recipe. But for exam, this recipe is not important. Is it clear? So that is all about this article. And now we'll move to the next article. 6 spider species discovered across the country. Okay. Now, I have taken deliberately this particular article to dispel one particular thing. Guys, actually, what has happened? 6 new species have been discovered of the spider. These species have been discovered. I'll just highlight. They have been discovered in the Garo Hills in Meghalaya, Thar Desert of Rajasthan, Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary, Kotapara Hills, okay, in the Kotamangalam, okay. Then it is the Thumbormuzi Butterfly Garden in the Athpali. So these 6 spider species have been found. Okay. Now, guys, two things I want to tell. That first of all, there are so many spider species that are spider bacteria species that are found in entire year. Number one, you cannot track them all. Secondly, guys, the names of these spider species, okay, Celticidae, okay, Celticidae, okay, Siam spinos generosus, okay, fine, Aphrasia, Aphrasia corichiadnesis. Okay, now these particular spider species and the scientific name that has been given, two things I am telling you. Number one, these developments are there which will look very important for the exam, but if you go and if you see the previous year papers, a bacteria was found, a spider was found. These species are not something that you need to go too much in detail. You need to see the major. For example, recently there was the cheetah reintroduction that happened. So what is what is the status of cheetah? Is it clear or not? For example, these giraffes that came. Now, this is a kind of a big issue that had come. So, what is the status of them? We discussed that particular thing. Leopard, tiger, lion. These are the flagship species. So, that is something that you need to see. Then, where the spider is being found, in which district and in which taluka it is being formed. Not important. One second. Even if you'll read it, even if you'll do that, you will not be able to keep it in your mind after a few days. and exam is very far away. Is it clear? So always guys understand this particular thing. Now if there was a very important saying in UPSC, it's not important what is to read, but it is important what not to read. What not to read, that is a very very important part of the smart studies. So these kind of a things, okay, there will be a list that will be given. I can also give you that particular thing and I'll leave upon you that okay, it is your headache how you'll remember, but no, not specifically very important. So I'll not be deviating you, not be overburdening you unnecessarily, because that is a torture. Okay, mains practice question for today. What do you understand by the Uniform Civil Code? Discuss the challenges associated with the implementation of Uniform Civil Code in India. So guys, there was a question, many students have raised that, sir, please also give some questions from the static part also. So I have given the UCC issue. Okay, so UCC is both static as well as contemporary. Are you getting? So if you want me to continue these kind of questions also, please do comment and tell me. Or if you want me to give only contemporary questions as we were taking up every day, please tell me that also. So please let me know what you need more. You need it like these static and contemporary mixed, or only contemporary questions. Okay, so that is all guys from my side for the today. So today's current affairs session was really very very important, because many important issues are there. So that is all for today. And guys, I hope you have liked the video, and if you have liked the video, one support I would like to ask, please do support the initiative. Please do support, like the video, because when you like the video, fine, YouTube pushes our initiative. Please do tell it to your friends, because guys, your support is the only thing which will keep this initiative live. Is it clear? So only your support will keep us going forward. Okay, so please support the initiative, because it takes a lot of hard work, and if you see that it is actually taking a hard work, please do like, please do leave your lovely comments. Your comments are very very valuable to me. I personally read every comment and try to reply to all. Thank you so much. Now we'll meet tomorrow.